Okie doke.
Right, so might have to do some some tricks here and there. Okay. So I hope I will get the feedback from IRC that people can hear us. That's first thing. Can you hear us?
What channel? Someone needs to say something. If they can't hear us, if we're not.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, they say yes.
Blah blah blah. Yes, a slight delay until they get the message. Hello and welcome. This is a live translation from FOSDEM. I hope you can hear me well. I'm not sure about the capabilities of my laptop there, but this is running on the webcam and it's really well improvised thing. Thanks for the step for 4G uplink, and we've just done brief introductions here, and we are ready to kick off with the meeting, the IRC style. But you'll be able to ask questions on IRC, and whilst being here, we have an IRC relay man communicator Steph as well. And I believe there'll be done a few introductions on IRC as we usually go through that process. So you can go ahead with that. Are they going ahead with that?
They haven't started yet. James hasn't started the meeting yet.
Okay.
But there's lots of chat. There's lots of chat going on in the channel.
Good. He's probably waiting for Merbot to get the op, the hat, and which we usually think Karsten can do that. I think there's some, the word delegation is sometimes missed, and could be really good if somebody just steps up, or if the problem lingers on, if somebody can take over that, maybe it's not the problem to become a moderator of Mer meeting channel. Yeah, then you can op anyone.
Yeah, Jay's asking 1 minute, and just so we all know, there seems to be about a 3-minute lag. On the channel, not on the channel, on the YouTube stream.
3-minute lag.
I think that's
some setting that you
since the point he said, "Can you hear us?" They kind of measured that because we don't have a clock there. Right. So whilst we're waiting, we just made introductions here. The people from all over Europe, if not world. Great background, or someone's just curious. Someone wants to know more of upcoming events, and the other person wants to know how they can contribute. And some nice connections done. Berlin, Sailfish OS, perhaps gonna get a new member. We've interesting short stories about coding apps, QML apps on their own phone.
The meeting has started.
Yep. Great. So I'll just keep talking while they go through their introductions. It's 5 minutes, I guess.
Who is the video chair?
Okay, that's my girlfriend there. Forgot to switch off Telegram. Yeah, but she's also watching. Perhaps. I wonder if there might be some questions. That reminds me, on the YouTube channel itself, on the YouTube video channel, there's a chat box. There's loads of stuff going on. I'm not sure how much we're going to duplicate all this and really back and forth, but just the gist, to get the gist out, we'll do fine. Yeah, as I was saying, and apparently, yeah, it was a nice conversation just for the last half hour. I said that there's an app now in the, because sometimes you have to repeat things because you think, oh, everybody knows that, but we have new people here, so reiterating is really something for them to discover as well. Don't be shy to think about something, to say something obvious, what you might think everybody knows, but it's to open up more. There's an app where you can just code QML on the phone itself, and coincidentally we have the author of that app sitting at the back row here in this room. So nice coincidences. We're going to go through the IRC meeting style as well, as usual. We're going to finish the topics. Perhaps we're going to still have some time spare. for any brainstorm topics. And well, obviously, that just I just remembered recently that how do you interest people? We have a few people who were just gotten mentioned about Sailfish, and they just came here to see what's that. And when you have friends, when you have colleagues, just go ahead and tell them about it. Sort of to open up our circle more and more broad to talk about, spread the word, not to be too much enclosed. And that's part of the fact that, for example, I didn't know what FB Reader is, and just what kind of thing that app does. So simply go ahead and tell a bit more about it. And just as an instance, whenever you think that somebody already knows it, it might not be that obvious, and especially about Sailfish OS, because it is really not widely known. Coming from another fact, good topic for a brainstorm, people don't know that they can contribute to Sailfish if they contribute to MER. And some people don't know that MER.co is part of Sailfish OS. And some people think Sailfish is all closed source because its UI is closed, but that's just, they still think it's completely closed. So do emphasize, since we are here at FOSDEM, Free Open Source Developer European Meeting, those who didn't know, it's again something you think might be obvious, but welcome here next year. We'll have a nice dinner afterwards, and this sort of is becoming a tradition. What's our IRC status? Kowalski.
Yeah, we're well into the intros, so I think probably only a minute or two more of intros, and then James is going to crack on. I will let you know as soon as he does.
Brilliant. Yeah, so
They're doing the introductions as well.
Quite an impressive list this time.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's quite big. Yeah, it's good.
well, it's a Saturday. I thought, people might be off to be somewhere else. Had a But it's great to be, in spirit here, all in FOSDEM, if not in flesh. So that's cool. We usually do meetings on a weekday, try to match with different time zones, some Australian fans as well, some Australian sailors. Try to alternate that. We'll perhaps try to make a IRC meeting next time on Saturday as well. Why not? Or is it just because of FOSDEM? So we'll see about that.
But this is also good. This is what, twice as many people as we had last year in this room?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it's picking up.
I think the room was completely filled last year.
No. That hasn't been.
3 years when we had 50 people in the dinner, they had all separate restaurant part.
Yeah.
So there were many more people also during the...
The people in the chat on YouTube who go on IRC, even on web IRC, I don't know, but
Do you have a link to some IRC that's sort of easily accessible?
It's webchat.freenode.com.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can you send it to me?
Who stopped? Or my connection is gone.
Yeah, it died.
Yeah, stop to too.
Oh yeah, I'm out. Right.
No, but I can still, sorry.
We already did the introductions here. 3-minute lag.
web chat.
I should have said this 2 minutes ago.
I think you can add something like slash.
Tumbleweed.
If you want to say, James, go ahead and start, we should not do it verbally, but with the
Yes.
So what was that about the reader?
It's an ebook reader.
Yeah, I know, I use it. It's, was it
The author is here.
Hmm?
Yes.
Who is the author?
This gentleman here
Porter. Okay.
ported an app from the other platform.
Okay.
okay, it's wrapping the intros up
Is
now.
it in open repos?
Yes.
Okay.
James is going to start.
Not in the old stuff.
Okay, we're on to the first question. The topic is handling Python modules in the SDK. It's 20 minutes long, and the question reads, gosh, this is long, hard to read. Currently, the Sailfish SDK can't handle Python packages and modules. A solution would be to allow the use of pip to add those modules to the RPM of the application, almost the same way as packages in the Jolla repo are handled for every target. When an RPM is built, pip will automatically upgrade the Python modules to the latest version if available, or allow pip on Sailfish OS devices. Themselves, it's installed by default but not allowed in hardware apps. That's the question.
So the person wants pip.
Yes.
What could possibly be going wrong?
Yeah. So I would prefer to packaging of Python applications to be allowed in Jolla store because using two different package managers on the same system, it can have very disastrous results.
Why don't we have Python libraries in MER and then just do it as a requirement for the RPM?
I think people want to have some arbitrary Python to be able to use some arbitrary Python libraries available from pip.
Other libraries.
Right now they still can bundle them with virtual env or something.
virtual
like
env
that.
is the solution to this.
But I think
And that makes it sure that you never pull in two new versions because the pip requirements were too loose or something like that. So that actually makes it predictable. Now allowing them to be downloaded on the fly when installing it on device can go wrong in many ways, right?
Yes.
Whereas if you bundle them completely, it's perfectly predictable, basically as good as it gets, right?
But on the other hand, maybe guidelines could be adopted the same as in Fedora. So it's preferable to not bundle libraries but to package them separately,
Yes.
so others can use them as well.
Yes, but
Yeah.
not in an app way, but maybe in MER that would be better.
Maybe like in Fedora, those packages are accepted in Fedora itself. For MER, it could probably make sense to have some small core and have something like MER extras or something like that. So
Possibly.
like people can add additional libraries, additional applications, and the same actually is true not only for Python, it's for any language. Like if you use some C++ program and you need some additional library to be used, okay, package it as well.
Yes,
for
as an
benefit of
RPM
the-
package,
yeah.
possibly.
Yes.
That would be a good solution, but then you would have to have a repository accessible for app developers, or rather that they can submit RPMs for that, for MER extra or something.
Yes, and I think that it should be some kind of sane process to submit a package for inclusion in this MER extra.
Yes.
So you first, for example, build this package in your home project in OBS. You test it if it works well, and if it follows all the guidelines, you can submit this for inclusion, and if it passes peer review, then it gets included eventually. So
Yes.
something like that. So to be more flexible in including. Also, I have a much more radical idea about. It's not a good solution because
Anything's a solution, but you can have different libraries in there and that won't break anything else, but it's still a lot of bundling.
yes, and we already have a pretty good package manager that can solve many dependent.
Your application. So unless it's enforced system-wide, then it would not require any bundling, or it might have bundling or not, but that's exactly what we're going on. Isn't 20 minutes up?
20 minutes is up, and we have just now moved on to the next topic.
Brilliant.
So there we go. This topic is called Updating the MER Architecture Diagrams on the MER Wiki. Yeah, it's asked by Coderus. He says the current diagrams are very outdated, 3 to 5 years old.
Maybe it makes sense.
Architecture diagrams.
Yeah.
I think there has been some work in the Sailfish documentation wiki to do more architecture description, and what's in the architecture wiki is out of date. It's from X11 times, and
Oh wow, so it's very old.
it's made using files I don't have it. So they want to get updated.
Stream is back.
No, it's done.
No.
No, it's done.
It's loud again.
Everyone says no.
Let's just start.
10 seconds.
Yes.
They occupy space in. So there is a files and file system occupying this, or these files are already like deleted but not closed.
I did not really look very well, but I think it's the same as with in Thunderbird. In Thunderbird, if you wipe a mail and you empty your trash, it's still there.
Yeah.
It's there's a text file in which you can find your old mails. I use it often because
get marked as deleted.
Yes.
yeah.
You actually need to run the housekeeping job
Compact.
Yeah.
on the mbox
Yeah.
file in case of Thunderbird,
Yeah.
which then will create a new mbox file with
Yeah.
all the deleted parts removed, which needs at least the size of the target mbox file on your
I
hard
think it's
drive.
called
But
compact.
we digress. I think in QMF, it's a simple. It was just never implemented otherwise, so they just are written to the file system and that's it. So, like, they might be removed from the server, from the index, from whatever, but there is no housekeeping.
Yeah.
That's what I suspect.
Right.
It could be.
So someone would actually need to go and implement that feature of cleaning up the thing.
The cache basically on the device.
Yeah. The most simple thing you could actually do is you could run a cron job or an whatever timd job that deletes files older than n days in that particular directory. Because if you then look at an email that is older than n days, it will just download it again. That's my suspicion.
And that's all open source components affected, so it can be done by.
It's like a 5-line script.
You could probably do this in one line.
Yeah, like
Except
I was
Right
getting
now.
nervous. Yes,
Are
in
you
Perl
putting in comments?
with the long line, no problem.
There's one line in
basically
Haskell.
just a find and delete
Yeah.
in a
That's it.
timer server system or
Yes.
something. Yeah.
So action
Sounds simple enough.
action point. Yeah, you can mention that briefly about the stale emails.
It's already been mentioned.
Brilliant. Yeah.
It's much easier to annotate this one. I'm not the only one that has to do the typing. It's very good. So if everyone wants to help, please
Collaborate
do.
it. That's awesome. What's next? Time-wise?
There's about 5 minutes left in this topic, but there's not a lot of chat going on
No.
in the IRC.
Somebody gets popcorn.
Amazing. Exciting.
Jamie is pushing for the next one.
You better be.
Oh, seriously?
Couple of minutes left.
Is there a next one though?
That's the last one, so I guess it'll be all other business after this.
I think what we should talk about, of course that's a bit selfish of me, but I think it has great value, is what we already touched on during this meeting. What is the state of Mer core and where should it go? And there are a couple of things that are maybe not obvious but very painful to realize. Like, Jolla has been very carefully maintaining a backward compatible distribution for their devices so that you don't need to, that applications don't break, etc., etc. But on the other hand, that means that things have not changed a lot, and there would be actually need to change things. Like, just as an example, I have actually rebuilt Mercore myself and have added Qt 5.8 final to it. Actually replaced Qt. And in that process I found out that actually the toolchain would really benefit from an update, because Qt 5.8 tries to do neon optimizations on ARM 64-bit and then blows up because nobody expects an ancient GCC 4.8 in this context, which simply doesn't export a couple of symbols. So there are very fundamental things that I think would need to be addressed. Where does Mercore go in the future? Do we update GCC? Do we update glibc? Or what is the direction?
Difficult one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it slightly contradicts to what I said earlier, that the Mercore will mirror Jolla's Mercore, but that's by far not the bleeding edge, that Jolla is using the stable core. So that would then the stable core, which was the first good thing, would actually be out there, because currently it's all spaghetti and all exploded, non-compiling and missing dependencies and unresolvables. Currently at the Mercore, it's gone much better, but I think the it might again collapse because it will just be enough for one package to update itself and to a newer version, and then it again is going to be unresolvable things. But so this is why Jolla is going to mirror its webhooks onto Mer, to the open. So we know that we can't afford ourselves to break a devel, right? Means out in the open will be also a stable Mer core with all green success things.
Sorry.
And then perhaps we could, like we had earlier back in the day, Mer next branches. You could experiment with latest Qt in there.
Yeah, for that we would need to sort of discuss a roadmap, though. Like, for example, is there even a chance to what is Jolla going to do? Is Jolla going to adopt Mer next at any point, or is it then going to cherry pick, or what are we doing?
Like naturally, with the evolutionary based next bits would go into the stable core, and then.
Yeah, but how are you going to ensure binary compatibility and stuff? That's what I'm concerned about, because that dictates a lot.
Binary compatibility hasn't really been a terribly big issue in the stack in general. A little bit on Qt side, but in general, as long as you don't charge pirate handlers, it doesn't really give much trouble in binary compatibility. But there's always a couple of slip-ups.
Yeah.
If you're relying on obscure features in glibc or whatever, then there's always going to be headaches. But traditionally, what? But typically, updating glibc or updating the toolchain has not been a problem. It's just that source packages stop building because GCC is getting more and more bitchier every version.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And the other problem is, of course, also that there's a lot of packages that have the GPLv3 issue, which is a completely different discussion that's better served over here. And that also holds back a bunch of packages in that regard. But the problem is that Jolla, at least that was the usual thing, it was that Qt out of the box is usually not going to be working necessarily in binary compatibility way, but also changes in the JavaScript engine, QML, and so on. And that's where things really break. And when you have less of fewer QA resources, then it suddenly becomes you're not standing on rock anymore. You're standing on sand when you're upgrading, and then suddenly it becomes a bit of more headache. So it's quite often that when you have a stable Qt release, then we have to do additional work to actually productize it. And that that's the real headache. It's not just operating packages. It's
Can you speak up a little? Question from the stream.
No.
Just
No, he can't.
yeah, summarize.
You can carry it, Karsten.
So as in, it's not always as easy to upgrade Qt because we have to do things on top of the Qt every release. And that's basically what I said.
And also I would remind about changing C++ API with GCC 5 because of C++ 11 support. So essentially C++ application should be rebuilt to take advantage of new C++ 11 features provided by GCC 5 and onwards.
Well, if you're gonna update GCC, you're gonna have to rebuild pretty much everything anyway. So.
Yes, but sometimes the resulting code will be just compatible one, but not for a standard C++ library, because standard C++ library was updated to support like move constructors and stuff like that.
Yeah, and the problem is if we we still stand at the old GCC version, the gap becomes bigger and bigger every time.
Yes.
So
it's either way it's like changing to the new API is inevitable. Yeah, longer you delay, bigger the problems are.
Yeah, I think the question that we should ask at this point is, who's interested in putting some work into making builds with, well, a recent GCC and toolchain? Do we have people with experience in that context?
Oleg does.
People on IRC.
Yeah, and actually I already expressed my attitude towards this fighting the technical debt. So theoretically I can do this, but when I have I'm in a good mood and not occupied by something else, or otherwise it can be expedited if somebody contracts me to do this.
Hint, hint.
Yes, indeed.
Well, of course, many things can be solved by money and contracting people.
Yeah,
But in this particular context, I was more interested if there are people that generally want to invest.
Perhaps somebody would want if they knew what real benefits are, because perhaps they just don't know that.
Are there actually any benefits except for fighting technical debt?
So if there is some kind of commercial entity backing more project, this commercial entity could be interested in reducing technical debt, because this technical debt can bite later.
Yes.
Well, it bites now if you, for example, try to build a Qt 5.8.
Right. Well,
Yes.
that's
Which
one.
uses a lot of C++
makes the product
11 and also breaks then things in funky ways.
Right. That's one of the motivations.
And you also have to remember that this is also because we love our own tools too much. Android has extremely strict API controlling the NDK in many cases. People have to bundle the applications natively in the APKs. It's the fact that we want to use our libgrp, our Python, our libpulse, etc., and it means that it becomes a very, very difficult base to actually maintain, while something like Android can rapidly evolve because they have strict APIs in that regard and just kind of lets freedom in a different way. And that's kind of a curse of the GNU Linux-based systems, including Ubuntu, which is why they have to make containers containing applications and ship them, which frankly speaking, nobody wants to download a 300 megabyte application container.
Yeah, I also commented on ISC on that side. Essentially, you end up with downloading user space for every application.
Mm-hmm. And a question from the RRC.
On the other way. Yeah, that's better.
Asking, perhaps we should ask how to reduce the effort in reducing the technical debt.
What's the methodology?
I think, yeah, no, they're asking. I presume they're asking what can be done to make it easier.
If all applications were just QML based in JavaScript, life would be a lot easier. But then we come down to the fact that Qt is not really moving so fast as an application platform. So.
Well, perhaps try to reduce the depth and see what hurdles you run into, what holds you up the most, and then we can try to solve them. Maybe you need extra help from us, perhaps, or more collaboration with your peers, because we don't really know what actual difficulties you run into until you go ahead and try. Perhaps the entry level, and then you people just bounce off the wall and if they can't even set up the SDK. So this, once it's out of the way, can iteratively can get there. So that's general discussion at the moment. Okay.
This was actually made as a special topic just now. Yes. Let me ask.
Okay. So we started a new topic about the technical debt reduction.
We started no, we didn't. No, the TBR's question was started as a new topic.
Cool. Yeah. So we can, I guess, close that topic now, and keep coming back to it, obviously, because that's really a.
Do we have an action for this discussion? Like trying and see what we find? Or not?
Well, I guess TBR already tried and find something.
Yeah, I also earned and really. No, I'm not going to quote this in a way where it's going to end up in video, but let's say that someone at the Qt project was not very kind in answering my questions and just referred to update all your bloody stuff.
Oh.
And it was meant as an insult.
As an underlying components that Qt's built on. Okay.
Yeah. I was trying to solve the build issues on ARM 64-bit, and well, the person is well familiar with embedded, but said, yeah, just update to GCC 6 and everything, and that will solve.
Actually, it's quite common attitude of developers. They know nothing about packaging, so they just make modes.
Trust me, I don't want to get into this deeper. Yes, it's a general attitude, but that was meant as an insult.
Okay.
James asks whether we have a new topic from here, or whether he should move to general discussion.
Well, yeah, the one that I pointed out on IRC
yes,
as well,
okay.
and someone kindly retyped it. So that I think I saw a question of that popping out on Together before this meeting, that there are a lot of components created by Jolla, like the camera app or whatever app that would be useful to applications and are already being re-implemented, often poorly, in apps. And it would be a lot nicer to just be able to reuse them, not necessarily making them open source and just sort of including them in your
just
project,
an
but maybe
API.
having something like a Jolla camera QML component you can sort of drag in and use to some degree.
I think that's what our design is having on little bits every iteration to have a new API coming out.
Yeah.
It's in every iteration there's something like file picker. What was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So open sourcing the components, not open sourcing, sorry, making them available. So making them documented, making them hardboard compatible, and reviewing that the API is something that we can actually live with in future. So it's been like a kind of a back burner activity in the UI team. But some progress, but there are still components to.
Yes,
Two,
just like
so
camera and
Yeah.
file picker is out, and just bear with us. It's busy, very busy times at the moment. Busy in a good way.
New release?
But of course, then after that, the experience is still not complete. So there's still kind of many mobile device use cases that are not maybe covered, and then we need to kind of analyze the situation that what would be most valuable to tackle after the existing ones are tackled.
Are you coming for dinner? No.
Can you? Okay. Good stuff.
You can do the
Brilliant.
honors.
Brilliant. Thank you. Well, busy also. We'll be able to do much more after MWC, so that's a bit of a teaser there.
At what date?
MWC is end of February,
Okay, interesting.
beginning of March. Those 5 days.
February, yes.
We are.
Well, so and means we are.
So there will be some big announcement at MWC.
Wait till you see.
Sounds interesting.
It's known for sure that we are very busy, and we'll be much less busy after MWC. Is all I can say.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yes.
Slightly lesser busyness. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So basically, you're saying something is coming, and I cannot tell anything about it.
Yes.
So actually teasing, literally.
You know, it's always you have to be very careful promising anything, as you know. So wait, as you always have.
So basically, you're saying it might be delayed. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
This is a trap.
Well, we won't delay MWC, but
But announcement can
we're
be
not.
delayed.
We can't delay that much. No, it's, as I said, it's we're positively busy. So
Maybe Jolla too.
yeah, maybe names for Jolla 2. You have some. I think somebody was suggesting C+ as a name.
Jolla C++.
No. The one
We will
after.
have Jolla C++ later on.
The one after would be C++.
No, Jolla D. Jolla C#? No.
Jolla NT and then Jolla XP.
And which one is Jolla ME?
How about 2C?
There you go, full Nokia and C2, yeah.
No, 2C. 2C. Yes.
C squared. Oh, you're very nice.
Yes.
In some languages, that means a toilet.
No.
Just saying.
L8R
Later.
for announcement.
Soon. Right, we got 13 minutes to go.
As a next device name. Mention it just in Mars.
With a TM next to it.
Jolla Cube. After Star Trek Cube.
Yeah, there was a joke about Alexei derived that joke very well. He said he didn't say soon. He wants to avoid this word, so he said it's coming.
It's ready.
And then Kim Molly conglomerated this and said, so if you use the term coming soon, the galaxy, like the universe implodes or something.
You could do like Jolla forever, which means you gotta wait for like Duke Nukem.
So, not to wait forever, please
No, there wasn't.
wait for the new haddock. There'll be more ports coming because the new haddock will make it even easier, and 64-bit devices, which everyone's waiting for. The already for a year since they came out, and those who can't live without Android, which is Facebook, thank you, and WhatsApp for closing everything. Do take a look at SF Droid and join the effort, which is actually a very cool thing. We don't reduce the underlying Android of your Android phone that you put Sailfish on top, so we just task for Android to continue booting, and our clever community guy, he's helped us out many times kerneling Franz Josef Haida, I think his name is. He has created SF Droid. He just asked for a surface flinger of Android to channel into one of the app covers of Sailfish OS. So it's composited the whole window into the whole Android's continuing booting through a Sailfish app. A window actually, which looks like an app. And then you click on it and you have full screen Android running in parallel with Sailfish OS. He's managed to get WhatsApp working, which is essential for many people out there. And there's just so much people say, no, there's no WhatsApp, I'm not going to use Sailfish OS port. Yeah, like in India it's like 99% or something. Things like GPS don't work, so that's where you can come in and make maps work and Bluetooth thing, so all the peripherals. But you want to run Android apps and have ports. It's all in your hands to basically pass your time whilst waiting for a Jolla product or a partner product.
Is the SF Droid, is this like a sort of a replacement method for getting Android than the Alien Dalvik?
Well, Alien Dalvik is an emulator.
Yes.
And it is stuck at version 4.4, I think.
Right.
But SF Droid will have the version that you are porting on.
Yes.
I think we're now up to Android 6. And it's not it's a porting replacement. It's not as stable, but it's actually less resource demanding because it's the same Android keeps on running. There's no extra emulator on top of an Android adaptation of Sailfish adaptation. It's just two systems continuing on booting to UI and very cleverly composited.
It's more efficient, this solution.
It
I
is.
mean, you can have it running like today, all the applications with this method, and is also more efficient
than Alien Dalvik, allegedly, yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. In theory, it should definitely be like that. Perhaps Alien Dalvik has some optimizations that it still requires a chunk of memory. You know the difference, everyone, from Jolla 1 Alien Dalvik and Jolla C Alien Dalvik, which is a difference of 1 gig and 2 gig of RAM makes life actually viable. Yeah, and it's not much needed, just that extra chunk of RAM.
What's going on with Alien Dalvik? If it's stuck in development, maybe it's time to open source it.
It's not up to us to decide.
You would need to ask the company behind it.
Yes, and also why not sell it on individual basis for people who have ports to other devices?
That's another alternative path we're obviously considering, but it's nothing concrete yet, and this is why I'm really talking about this.
You can't sell applications in the App Store. So if you get them working in the App Store, it's much easier to sell something.
Well, of course, Jolla selling stuff in Jolla store is much easier than working as a middleman between developers and customers. So, yeah, that's something we are currently considering. Of course, we see the value of having the Alien Dalvik in ported devices.
Is the haddock update also timed with the MWC, or is that timed separately?
I'll try to push it out next week to early adopters. So this is.
That's interesting.
It might be already used in that version that it is now for MWC internally anyway. So it might. So unless you want to bring your ported phones to MWC if you are coming there, I'll try to release it with enough time.
Question from RC: is there anything from Jolla on attracting more devs?
Attracting more devs. So, like I said earlier today, spread the word. It's one thing you might think people know, but how many of you didn't know about SF Droid?
I didn't.
At least 2, yeah.
What's the question? I didn't hear the question.
The SF Droid, the possibility to run Android apps on Android devices running Sailfish. So just keep talking. The devs, there's loads of always a debate why perhaps the paid app support means the lack of devs, but I don't think it's as black and white.
So of course we know the API that needs to improve. The Qt update will help us a little bit, but there are still steps because some of the packages we don't. The Qt add-ons, they won't kind of all magically come in this one once. So that's one of the sides. Then of course we did the documentation updates to Sailfish OS org so that you should now have much more information about how the system is working.
Webinars, yeah? You mentioned webinars?
Yeah, we had the webinars that have been ongoing and they have been quite well viewed and good. We've gotten quite good feedback. And that's due to the busyness, unfortunately, we have not been able to have now in January webinar, but let's see.
That's one of them now.
Yeah. And additionally, our new Russian partner has been organizing lots of developer events in Russia. So I think they have had like something like 4 or 5 different events last year, and even some university collaboration with the kind of university that they are tied into. And of course, this kind of partnership model is something that we have been wanting to improve, that have similar kind of partnerships with other countries, and hopefully we can find such partners, and then they would be advocating in their countries, so you kind of get the know-how of people, and of course then more devices, and the platform becomes more bigger and more lucrative target towards developers.
Yeah, so many vectors to attack a developer.
One
of them being Linux, QML. There's not that many out there opportunities to do it. It's mostly Android world out there. Also brings another problem of new generation knowing how to code Java mainly. But the potential of Linux, and I always back this up with Unix being born in 1975 and around that time, and Android being born in 10 years ago. So we know where we all our stand is. Okay. So I think we've exhausted time very efficiently. I thought we're gonna have some more to brainstorm, but we've done already so many little brainstorms. And thank you all for great input. What is James up to?
James is silent.
Okay. But we'll wait 3 minutes until he has my question. Yeah. The time is, I guess, also to wrap up, is 4 minutes left.
Has the meeting on IRC ended yet?
The meeting on IRC has not ended.
Well, probably they'll be deciding the time for the next. I think it'll be 2 or it can't be in 4 weeks because that's MWC. Maybe 3 weeks, or maybe 5-6 weeks. I don't know. Maybe you can, like I said, bear with us, be patient, and perhaps we can. It's really busy period, and closer to MWC get even busier. So perhaps after the MWC would be the best time to do the meeting, the online one, the IRC one. Who of you didn't know about the IRC meetings that they are happening?
I knew their meetings, but I never
and I'm not
tried to
talking
find when, where.
only to you, also to the guys on YouTube, for example. Because not exactly many or everyone needs to know IRC, but then there you go. There's lots of big source of meetings going on regularly on IRC. So again, spread the word. This IRC webchat.freenode.net. Anybody can just
and there are
tune in.
Notes also and logs, because I usually cannot catch the meetings, but they are also logged. So
Concise
you can get, the transcript
minutes.
later.
Yeah.
Where are they?
I think this is linked from the Together
You can see them in together.yolla.com. They're also available on the mailing list, the Sailfish developers mailing list.
And I think it's also on sailfish.org, which is prime entry landing page for most of us. If you go, well, it's perhaps not obvious. If you go to community tab, it should be info there. Definitely is about those regular meetings happening.
Yeah.
They're using Meetbot like us.
Oh, that's nice.
The same.
Yeah, I think we can wrap up here and just relay the message that after MWC, I think is the best timing to meet up again. Thank you all. See you at the dinner. Those who sign up. Great. Thank you. Just come to me, those who want a Jolla hat. First come, first served. limited amount.
What kind of hat?
Jolla hat, the beanie. People, the beanie hat. Bye all.